What is up, my friends? You are welcome along to a very, very angry match reaction here on Anfield Agenda after Liverpool have been beaten once again. 3 games on the bounce. This time it's at the death by Chelsea. We've clawed back a 1-goal deficit to get level, miss chance after chance, and concede a winner at the end. Congratulations to Enzo Maresca and his team. But for me, as a Liverpool fan, before I get stuck into any comments, before I run through that, and it doesn't mean a damn thing, I'm going to give you my take. And I'm going to give you my unfiltered, honest, where the hell we're at take. This is, and make no mistake about it, I want to be clear, this is on the manager. This is on Arne Slot. This is down to him. Simple as that. What on earth has he got against Federico Chiesa? I don't want to hear any horseshit about knocks or anything else. It is an agenda at this point the manager has against them. It is clear as day for anybody to see. Mohamed Salah is ghosting and the manager hasn't got the nuts to put him off the pitch. It is as simple as that. There's no two ways about it. He is ghosting out there, putting in stinker after stinker. Meanwhile, a lad who was dying to get out onto that pitch and put up threes and has been scoring is benched and ignored again. It is on the manager. Canade's head is gone. I don't know what the hell is happening to him, but there is no mistake. This is now an agenda the manager has against Chiesa. And I don't care. If he's fit enough to be in that squad, he's fit enough to get on the pitch. And if he's not fit enough to be in the squad, why isn't Rio Ngamoa in the squad? So either way, and I want to make this really fucking clear again, this is on Arne Slot. This is his doing, this is his failures, and this team is an absolute shambles compared to what we'd seen. I'm sure the excuses will be trotted out from those who said, if you can't support us when we lose, don't support us when we win. You know, all the cooks. I'm not one of them. I'm going to tell it like it is. That's pathetic. No leadership, no aggression, nothing. Empty, devoid of ideas, flat, fucking horrendous. Not good enough. Arne has lost that team. I don't know what he's trying to do. I don't know what the platform they're trying to build is, but I ain't seeing it. And I certainly ain't happy with it. We've gone from being undefeated, perfect, to losing not 1, not 2, but 3 games in a row. 3. Cannot keep a clean sheet, cannot take chances, and forever giving it to Salah, who isn't there anymore, who just doesn't deliver at the moment. And the manager, well, he's rewarding it. He's rewarding it. Make that make sense. Make it make sense. He's fucking rewarding it. Absolute nonsense. Absolute nonsense. No low block today, Arne. No fucking low block, bro. No excuse. Can't go into the post-match interview with that one. Low block, low block, low block. No ideas. Shit formation. Shit tactics. On you, Gaffer. On you. Another slottage time loss, said Gooner. Philip said, I'm going to drink myself to sleep. Have a good one. Galileo B said, should Arne Slot change the system and formation? He should change something. He should change something because this is absolutely deplorable. How have we spent nearly £500 million to go backwards? And not a little bit, a long way. Will said, I'm absolutely raging. I don't care what they've done in seasons gone by, but the likes of Mo and Virgil are embarrassing. Always the way my club treats Chiesa as a disgrace. Our centre-backs are too scared to go to ground. Our centre-backs are more interested in looking cool and jockeying than they are at putting their bodies in the way of a shot. Our whole defence is a shambles. The midfield has no legs anymore and looks like they've only just met each other. And our forwards, well, where to go with that? Where to go with that? Salah today, the standard bearer, the man who was firing on all cylinders last season, can't find a Liverpool shirt. And you know what? It's not on him that he's not getting taken off. He's hardly going to run over to the sideline and beg to be taken off. But Arne hasn't got the bottle to make the big decisions. He doesn't fucking have it. Simple as. Arne Slot has to grow a pair. Because we're being mugged off by subpar performances from players earning huge amounts of money. And whatever the reason is, it doesn't take away from basics. Basic passing, basic movement, basic aggression. It's not there, and it's not there in bucketfuls. There are mitigating factors. And of course, we can talk about Diogo's passing and the impact that has. And as I've said many times before, if you're a manager and you're in the changing room and you see that that is impacting one or two players, that's okay. They're human. But put them to the side, rest them, let them work through it in their own time, and find the players who are tuned in. Find the players who are on it. Because once again, Salah gets dropped midweek, comes back in, has a stinker. Canade, don't even get me started. Don't get me started on Canade. I don't even know what to say about him. This is not just a reaction to defeats. This isn't just the fact we've lost 3 in a row. It's the fact that we look devoid of improvement. The fact that we have whimpered our way to these 3 losses. It is soul-destroying stuff watching this. With the excitement of the summer, with the money invested, with the talent that we brought in, we look absolutely lost out there. Lost. I want to just go through some of your comments now. 1 second. This one from Mike. Backline doesn't know how to play. Others offside or defend. Attackers can't defend. Players on the bench who need to be on the bench. Absolutely awful. So, we've learned a couple of things here. Still doesn't trust any of his right backs. Because Bradley, he took off. Didn't put Frimpong on. So he's sitting on the bench again. 30 million quid that the manager brought in but doesn't trust. So what the fuck's the point of that? Canade, he might as well be playing for Madrid. He'd probably cause us less problems. Virgil said, so Robertson isn't this last season. Forget to cover the back post. Slot scared, sorry for the word, bitch, for not subbing Salah. Chiesa has to start. Look, I'm understandable of Chiesa not starting if there was a niggle, which I still don't believe, by the way. I've said this all the way through. But if that was the case and he had a niggle, he has to be fit enough to be playing some minutes or he shouldn't be on the bench, right? So if we can all agree on that for Chiesa to get minutes, he has to be fit. So he's clearly fit to get minutes. And once again, what does the manager do? How does he reward subpar performances? By letting players stay out there and stink the gaff up. When we have somebody dying to prove a point, who's worked his ass off to get in the manager's thinking, being ignored. Make no mistake, this is an anti-Chiesa agenda from Slaw, and I will say what others won't. He is prioritising Mo and not going on the hot hand, not going off form, he's going off reputation, and that's a bitch move. It's a bitch move. The legend said, I'd be lying if I said you don't have a smile. Well, as an Arsenal fan, mate, I don't blame you. If I was in your shoes as an Arsenal fan, I probably couldn't believe my luck. That you were 5 points behind a few weeks ago. Now you're going into the international break top by a point. With easier games coming up as well than us. So I don't blame you for having a smile on your face, mate. You've every right to. Slot doesn't know how to use these players. So how do we bring in players and not know how to use them? Right? Because we spent the whole summer trying to get Isak. And we don't look like we've any idea how to give him any ability to make things happen or to put him in goal-scoring positions. I don't want to hear any excuses from Virgil, from Arne Slot, or anybody else. It's time to take ownership. It's time to actually man up and say, we aren't good enough, this isn't good enough, we know it, we're aware of it, it will change. But do you think you're going to hear that? I haven't seen the post-match interviews yet, but I'm absolutely certain that they're going to be filled full of more empty words. Because words are just that, fucking empty. Performances are what matters. And these lads haven't put in one good performance since the season started. Not one! Not one! And I'm not exaggerating. And I'm not being a hypocrite. Because we were calling out the performances when we were winning. This is clueless. Devoid of ideas. Are the new players above Slot's level? No rhythm. Lewis said, this is atrocious form, and why are we not bringing on possibly our most informed player in Chiesa and keeping Salah on that's been poor all season? Again, I can only reiterate, Lewis, it feels like an agenda. It feels like the manager doesn't want Chiesa there. which handicaps the whole team, the squad, all of it, because we're undermining ourselves. So today, we basically went into this game with 4 forwards because Chiesa wasn't used and Gamoa wasn't on the bench. So he's basically binned off 2 of the 6 options and gone with 4. That's the manager. That's the one that tells us in press conferences that he has faith in these players. Bullshit. Absolute nonsense. We are handicapping ourselves by having players that the manager doesn't want or trust. And let's call it what it is. Nobody with their right mind could think Chiesa's been treated fairly. Nobody. And what message does that send to the rest of the team? To the kids coming through? It doesn't matter how well you play. It doesn't matter how hard you work in training. I'm going to pick my favourites because that's the type of manager I am. Not good enough. Not good enough. This isn't my words. Have to read it out. Sack Slot, he's a fraud. He's overrated winning with Klopp's team. Chelsea played without a proper defence and we still can't do anything. Saltman said Slot's a flop. He's in a crisis. There's no 2 ways about that. He's in a crisis. He's in a huge crisis and he doesn't seem capable at the moment of finding a way out of it. Because he's had plenty of time. He's rotated players. He's rested some in the League Cup. And he has just handed the initiative over to Arsenal in the title race and brought Man City back into the race. This has been a collective failure since the start of the season. We were getting away with it because we weren't playing well, but we were finding a way at the end. Right now, it is all coming to the fore. We're not getting away with it, and now we're losing games at the end. The mentality is shocking. Shocking. Bumbadog said, I have no faith in Slot. I find him devoid of emotion and I feel like it's spilled into the team. Have run out of Klopp fumes, no culture, no energy, no idea. Worst of all, Liverpool team has no fight. That last part is the big indictment, right? No leaders. Nobody out there to stand up and grab the game by the neck or grab the team and say this isn't good enough. Because you know he's going to come out with some absolute garbage in the post-match press conference with excuses. He'll probably find a way to talk about a low block again, even though that game was the most stretched game I've seen in the Premier League for us this year, probably. So much space, so much time to attack. Wrong decision, wrong decision. Give it to Salah over and over again. One of the last phases of play for us attacking wise, we had the ball centre of the pitch, Salah to the right, 2 men to the left. 2 men who could have been in on goal. And what does he do? Goes wide out to Salah, who checks back inside and slows it all down, and Chelsea go back and defend. It's not good enough, and the manager is playing players on reputation alone, which is an absolute cowardly act. If you aren't doing what you would ask anybody else to do, which is bust the gut, work hard, show you want to be in the team, what is he doing rewarding Salah for that? Honestly, anybody, Salah FC fans, anyone, how is that going to change things? By leaving him on again when he's stinking the gaff up. Whoever wanted Kirkes needs to be locked up. Kirkes is developing, and at least I always expected it to come over time. But it shouldn't have even been a decision today. It should have been really clear going away to Stamford Bridge when you know you need the result. You know you need something from the game. To go back to the reliables. Go back to the lads who've been there and done it. But no. Again, just ghosting through games. Just fucking give up. Even look at the bench, like I said. No Ngamoa and basically no Chiesa. So we're back to last season again. Where a quarter of the bench he doesn't trust. So they're just taking up a place. This is on all of them, not just one person, and please, not you, Craig, but everybody else who keeps saying because of what happened to Jota, don't blame that anymore. We're shite, bring back Klopp. Look, I will always have an understanding of the Diogo situation. I promise you, I always do. But like I've said, it's up to the manager then to find out who is hurting, who is still not themselves. And that is absolutely okay. But what isn't okay is to see stuff with your own eyes and not drag these players off or take them out of the limelight that aren't working. It's okay to be hurting emotionally. Of course it is. But it's not okay to just keep picking your favourites. That isn't okay. That's not good enough. Salah shouldn't be playing. Kanade shouldn't be playing. Let's call a spade a spade. McAllister has been way off it so far this season. We keep reverting to putting our number 10 at right back, and we have 2 fit right backs. 2. Why do we buy Frimpong? He doesn't want to use him. Tried him in Salah's position to prove what point, I don't know, but that didn't work. So today, when he wants to bring Bradley off, he sticks Wirtz on, puts Szoboszlai back to right back, and again shows that 30 million quid player that he brought in he doesn't want. There's no other way you can get around this. He brought these players in. This is his group. He had Klopp's team, won the league with it last year. He made the additions, huge signings. 80 million Ekitike, 116 million Wirtz, 125 million Isak, 30 million Frimpong, 40 million Kirkes. Name me, apart from maybe Ekitike and Isak obviously working on fitness and building up the speed, not one of them have hit the ground running. Not one. Steen said 2 good games since December last year. Slot not up for the task. When the goalkeeper's man of the match tells us a lot. Actually, on that, let's be fair, Georgie was brilliant. Full credit to the big man. Nothing he could do about Caicedo goal, but apart from that, I thought Georgie Mamardashvili was excellent. Let's go through some of the numbers. By the way, I'm going to be announcing the winner of that Jota shirt in a second. So, the stats from the game. Possession, 53 for Chelsea, 47 for Liverpool. Both sides with 12 shots. Chelsea got half of theirs on target and worked the keeper. Us, just 2. Look at that for a stat. Chelsea, 12 shots, 6 on target. Us, 12 shots, 2 on target. 2. With all that firepower, 2 shots on target, and one of them was a goal. Let's have a look at some of the total passes. 444 for us, 83%. Outpassed by Chelsea as well with 500, 83%. The space was there today, and that's what has me the most frustrated. This isn't a case of a low block team frustrating us. We had acres of space out there today, acres to go and win that game. So, just to announce really quickly, the winner of this signed and framed Diogo Jota shirt, with thanks to our friends at the Collector's Corner. The winner is KevsGram88. So it's at KevsGram88 on Instagram. At Kevs, KEVSGRAMM, at KevsGram88. Congratulations. Get in touch with us on Instagram, Kev. And we will make sure that our friends at the Collector's Corner get that signed and framed Diogo Jota shirt out to you, sir. And congratulations. Right, let's keep going. Maddie said, can't win a game against a team with their 4th, 5th choice centre-backs. It's not the losses, it's the effing performances. This is turgid football. And that is a fair point. Like, we are out there playing against a team with no Cole Palmer, injured centre-back pairings, 7 or 8 players missing according to their manager. So we didn't even play the best version of Chelsea. And like I said all week, we probably got them at the right time. And what did we do? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Barely laid a glove on them. Just not good enough. Tom said, Craig, you know what I think of you highly, but please look at the bigger picture. Yes, we've lost 3 in a row now, but we've a brand new team with 7+ players. It's going to take time. I'm sorry, Tom. Not good enough. Not from you, mate. From them. What do you want to see when you have that new process like you're talking about, Tom? Let's say it was a new manager that had come in. As fans, what do you want? If you're not getting results, you ask for what? You ask for signs of progression, right? Now, trying to be fair and balanced and not being a rageaholic, do you see that progression, Tom? Because honestly, bro, I don't. I'm at a loss to see what exactly it is we're trying to do that isn't working. What I do see us doing again is passing the ball around at the back, going back to the keeper and lumping it long. What I do see is wrong decisions over and over again in the final third. What I do see is our midfielders not having the courage to play the right pass, the right one, but taking the easy route. So, excuse me, mate, when I say this, but I'm not buying that. I'm not buying that. Because the performances have been nowhere near good enough. And it's quite an easy fix. If the players that brought in aren't working, well, we still have most of the ones that were there last year. You could put out an 11 that you only have to change the centre forward in. So that's a cop-out. That's a cop-out for me, mate. It's a cop-out. Because there's no signs we're getting better. None. You know, if you could see we were trying to pass out from the back, but the passes were being intercepted. It just feels like we don't understand. We're in this mad halfway. What the fuck is their style? Like, I don't know. I don't understand what it is. I don't know what we're trying to do. And there's no excuse for this football club at any point, Tom. At any point, there's no excuse for Liverpool to lose 3 games in a row. Let's not be beta about this. Let's not be mid-tier nonsense. We're Liverpool Football Club. We're the reigning champions. And we've lost 3 games in a row, being absolutely devoid of ideas and an identity. That's what I see, bro. Joseph said, I've never seen a team so pragmatic in possession. You used the word pragmatic, which I think is very kind of you, Joseph. There's another word I could use. The detective said, very disappointed with today. Not sure what Chiesa has done to not get a game. Right back is a real concern. Bradley does off and Dom goes to right back. Seems like Frimpong is already out of favour. Yeah. Again, I don't think there's anything there to be argued with, the detective. You know, there is no way out of this with Chiesa here for Slot today. Because he can't tell us he's not fit because you put him on the bench. And if you didn't put him on the bench, you could have put Rio on the bench. So either way, there's no get out of jail free card today for Arna to say, I couldn't use Chiesa because he was injured. He tried that excuse midweek when he didn't want to bring him over to Galatasaray. Today, he chose not to bring him on. He chose to reward another abject performance from Salah. That is an agenda, in my opinion. An agenda. Owen said, we have no identity and style of play and look like we don't give a damn. Klopp won us the league last year, not Slot. So, this is where I would disagree with you. I think Slot won us the league last year. And I'll explain why to you. Klopp had the same team the year before. And the wheels fell off. We got injuries and the wheels fell off. What Arna was able to do was get the balance a little bit better last year and keep players fitter, which probably was the difference over the course of a long season in winning or not winning the league. You know, in the first half of Klopp's last year, we looked like we were going to win the league. But the intensity and the commitment and all the other stuff that drains the players down came to bite us in the backside. With this, I don't know. It just... I always find it a little bit disrespectful to say it was Klopp's team because ultimately Klopp had the same team that year before and didn't win it. And Arna found a way to do it. So I give him his credit for that. But then you have the chance to start to build your own team and your own identity. And I'm not seeing what the plan is here. I'm just not seeing it. Stevie Boy said, why are we surprised? This all started at the end of last season. Where is Gomez and Frimpong? I don't know what to say, but also you're going to hear, well, we have enough options. So I don't know what to say to you, Stevie Boy, because you're not wrong. There is no excuse for this. None. You know, we can find individual ones, but for a whole team to be quite far off the mark, I don't think we're talking about individual form. I think we're talking about a collective failure which starts from the instructions from the gaffer. And also, you're right about last year. Because I said it at the end of the season when people were talking about, well, you've won the league, what are you moaning about? You can't just flick a switch on and off. You can't just go from being at your best 100% to back to 60 and coasting and then switch it back on again. That's how momentum happens. You've got to keep the levels high. And we switched it off at the end of last season and decided to party. And now we can't get going. Ryan said, seeing the form of the team breaks my heart. Something needs to change or we're going to be fighting for relegation. I don't think we'll ever be getting to that point, but Again, let's remember what all of us, now there were a handful of people who said they thought there were too many changes, and I will give them their credit, but all of us said we want the league. All of us said we want the Champions League. All of us said that the expectations and the demands on the team now were high because of the backing the manager was being given. So let's not, revisit this and pretend we didn't say what we all said. This isn't good enough. To try to make any excuse for it is a cop-out. It's not good enough. Arian said, side note, what do you think of the World Cup ball? Haven't seen it. Haven't paid any attention to it, mate. Sorry. Art said, Endo on instead of Fede was criminal. So I think that one decision that he made there maybe encapsulates the mentality of where the team is at. So as you've said, you've got a chance to make a change. One left, I think, if my memory's right. So what do? Do you go for the attack, for the jugular, and bring on Chiesa? No, you tried to shore up the middle and take the point. That's what he was doing. He was bringing Endo on from McAllister to settle for the point. And it didn't work out for him. Because making the bitch decision, making the defensive decision, making the beta decision, ended up still losing the game. So how did that work out when you brought Endo on? Didn't. Still lost the game. Chad said, time for some serious self-reflection. Starting with Arna. I bet we see Liverpool play their best during the AFCON. Do the math. I just hope it's not too late. The energy Chiesa brings is so needed right now. The really, 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 really inexcusable thing in all of this is, in Chiesa, we have somebody who has what we're all looking for. Desire, determination, presence, an ability to go and find that goal, to make something happen, to hustle. And the manager apparently doesn't want that. The manager apparently doesn't want to see him and his team. Make that make sense. Regardless of whether you're Salah's biggest fan in the world or not, or even Gakpo, we could talk about the other side as well. In what world is it fair for Chiesa to constantly be ignored? I put it to you. Tell me how that is fair. And like I've said many times, what message does that send? We keep hearing about training, work hard in training, prove yourself in training, do this, do that. But they're not getting the chances. You're not picking players on form. You're picking them on reputation. And that's going to lose. When they're not playing well and you keep picking them, what message does that send? Do whatever the fuck you want because I'm not going to drop you. Do whatever you want because I'm not going to take you off. Do whatever you want because you are Mohamed Salah, or you are Cody Gakpo, or you are Ibrahima Konate. Do whatever you want. It's just absolute nonsense. If I was treating Chiesa the way Arna is, you would all unsubscribe and tell me I'm a hater. So he can't get a free pass on this because he is blatantly ignoring him, and he painted himself into a corner today because he could have said he wasn't fit, but you can't put him in the squad if he's not fit, and you can't leave out Rio Engamoa, who could have been in the squad if Chiesa wasn't fit. So the manager did this intentionally. Not the loss, the decision not to use Chiesa. Martin said, I've never seen such awful passing in my life. So how many times in the past 3 games have you seen a pass in between 2 Liverpool players? Or a pass to a player who hasn't made the run? And it would be easy to say, well, Craig, they're making the runs and they're not understanding each other. But I'm talking about players who play together. I'm not talking about an Isak on the shoulder not reading the pass. So many times our players are passing the ball where they think our players are about to move into, but they're not moving into that position. It's going in between 2 of them and going out for a throw into the opposing team. That happened over and over again. Charlie said 1-1 we were pushing, brings on Endo. He brings on Endo to try and make sure we get the point. And, pushing, you're always going to, when the game's stretched like that, yes, it's going to be one end to the other. But he wants to try to make sure he shores up the midfield. Did it work? No. you know, and Chelsea kept going, got their overload at the back post and found a winner. And it's absolutely infuriating that there's no reaction from this team. 3 games, no reaction in 3. What is Slot doing putting Dom right full, Frimpong on the bench, Dom guaranteed to create chances, no case is madness, Slot hasn't a clue. Daryl, I can't disagree with anything you've written there, except maybe the last part. I think sometimes we can be a bit harsh. But you're right, 30 million right back, and he's putting our number 10, or one of our 10s, back into the right back position again when we're looking to win the game. It doesn't make sense. You're not mad, Daryl. They're things that would dumbfound you if you've seen other managers do it, and you'd be laughing at them. So to anybody that doesn't support Liverpool that's in our chat right now laughing at us, we deserve to be laughed at, because we are a laughing stock with the way we're playing. You don't spend nearly £500 million to go backwards. First time in his managership or stewardship of Liverpool, we've lost 3 games in a row. 3 games in a row. Think about that. 3 in a row. No reaction, no fight, no spirit, no heart, nothing. 3 games in a row with a team that is favoured to win the league. 3 games in a row. Away from home against the poor Galatasaray side. Away from home against a depleted Chelsea team without their best player. Don't even know what to say anymore. Soul destroying. You've heard me use the phrase many times, a manager will live and die by his own decisions with regards to his job. Well, it's in Arna's hands and he keeps making the wrong decisions. I'm sure he has a reason for it, but fuck knows if the rest of us can figure it out. Martin said, I firmly believe the cause of the current mess stems from how the team ended last season, coasting and partying. I got given out to in the chat by people for complaining about that last season, mate, where I said this isn't good enough. And they said, but you've won the league. Everyone's feet, their minds are on the beach. You can't turn on and off aggression, form and ability. You can't do it. How many times have you seen a fighter try and coast through in rounds when they think they've won a fight and then the tide gets turned and they haven't got it back in them to get back into it? You can't turn on and off beast mode. You just can't. You need to be at it all the time. So I'm going to give you some quotes in a moment, but I want to fly through some more quick super chats. No more excuses. Chiesa needs to start instead of Salah, said Vavak Knives. Asentino said Slot is playing himself out of a job. Is it bad for me to want Salah's contract to end? I just want fairness. Salah deserved his contract. No problem with that. He earned it. He isn't at it now. And again, that's okay. Players drop in and out of form. But to keep rewarding that by not benching or not taking off, that's where I have my concern. We all know what Salah's capable of, and we're understanding of the changes on the right-hand side as well. Trent's not there, fair enough. But if Salah can't find these new relationships, or they aren't working for him, then find somebody that does work for it at the minute. If that's Chiesa, then make it happen. I don't want to put the boot in on Mo any more than we need to, because of course he is a legend. But he ain't at it at the minute. And it's okay to say that. The manager has to have the guts to do the right thing. So, let me read you out a few quotes from the gaffer. From the players and the manager. Cody Gakpo said it's difficult to take. I think obviously we played against a really good team. First half they scored an amazing goal, but I think it was level. Second half we fight really hard for the equaliser and we played a little better than them, but we're dangerous on the counter. So, yes, they scored a really good goal, Cody, but we let them shoot without anybody coming out to close them down. That part needs to be put in there as well. He also said, I'm failing to find a winner. I think somehow we couldn't keep the momentum. We have to analyse how and why. We had momentum, and if we kept pushing the time, we could have scored 2-1, but somehow we lost it, and they gained strength again. They pushed us back. Yeah, because we didn't take our chances. We didn't make the right decisions because the ball kept going out right to Salah, even when there were better options to the left. And all he kept doing was cutting back inside and slowing it down, or being Mr. Greedy Pants, cutting across the edge of the box and skying shot after shot. But we kept giving it to him, kept giving it to him, kept giving it to him. Van Dijk said, I've told you repeatedly that this season will be tough, not only because of what happens on the pitch, but also because of what happened off it. Look, this is a very difficult subject to discuss rationally when you're in a very heated moment. I think we're all understanding of the tragedy that struck the team. But you get two choices. In life, you get played a hand. You either fold that hand, or you play the son of a bitch out to the end. And we're folding. We need people to get in and around that group, in that dressing room, and stop the folding. Play the cards. Use it as inspiration. It's funny because if you're in a winning streak and you're winning it, the talk will be we're doing it to honour. We're doing it in memory of, which is beautiful. But when we're not doing it and we're not playing well, it's a very fucking easy excuse to lean into for underperforming. So I'm no doubt it will be tough for that dressing room. But this is where legends are made and characters are grown. It's not when things are going well. It's when your back's against the wall that real winners, real legends step up, grab people and take them on the journey with them. Arna said, I think two very good teams were on the pitch today. No, Arna, you're wrong. Chelsea are bang average. That performance from them was bang average without 6 or 7 of their best players. But let's carry on with his deluded comments. First half, unfortunately for us, the only chance they had in the first half goes into the top corner. We created 3 open chances. Kirkes, Dom and Alex with the header, but I felt the game was equal. Then he goes on to say, second half, we started really well. Wasn't a surprise we equalised. Last 15 minutes, it was end to end. We had chances. They had chances to win. In the end, we conceded a last minute goal. Brilliant. Fucking groundbreaking stuff, that, Arna. Well done, mate. Thank God you get paid the big bucks for breaking it down there. Arne Slot on the recent results. He said, first of all, the opposition we faced. Last season we lost against Chelsea as well. Stamford Bridge is always difficult. We concede an extra time. We're very close to a result. Small margins. As I said, Galatasaray, we had 1 versus 1. Then they get a penalty. We concede an extra time. Extra time against Palace. And today they score. Deluded. He's deluded. He's absolutely delusional. Because not once has he said we're not playing well. Not fucking once. He's delusional. Arne Slot is delusional. Not once has he said not good enough. Not once. Excuses. Excuses. Then he was saying, no, good goal, but there's nothing against Liverpool. I'm enjoying being and playing here, said Moise Caicedo. Slot on the changes in defence said, most of the time I've changed the fullbacks. It's been because they're on yellows. You wonder if it's smart to keep them on the pitch. We needed Florian to come into the game. Kirkes was more and more tired. We played 90 minutes. One second. We played 90 minutes in 2 games. And the third game, which he's not used to, you could feel and see that it got more and more difficult for him to keep going. The wingers are a threat. Oh, so Slot took Canade off, not because he was shy, but because Canade felt his quad a bit. So there you go, ladies and gents. Our manager just saying there, no, don't worry, lads. I didn't take Canade off because he was having a stinker again. I took him off because he felt his quad a little bit. The alarm bells go off at me. If it'd gone on, he could have made a change a bit later. wasn't worth taking the risk. It wasn't a coincidence when Ryan Gravenberch started to play there. We started to get more and more in the game. So which one is it, Arna? Is it the quad or is it because he's having a stinker? It's just nothing about that. Nothing about that said it's on us. Nothing. No collective responsibility. Nothing. Excuses. Delusion. We created three. Who gives a fuck? The scoreline, mate. The points. That's what matters. How many chances the underperforming players fluffed, and you think that's a good point? You think saying we created missed 3 chances, they only had 1 is a good point? Not when they score theirs and we mess up ours and you leave these lads out there? That's a good thing? No more excuses. Chiesa needs to start instead of Salah, said Vavanives. Asentino said Slot is playing himself out of a job. We've done all these ones. Putting the mortgage on the United to win at this point. I'm going to that game. I have no idea what to expect. No idea, performance-wise, after the international break. But yeah, I'm going on to that one. So haven't got a clue. Happy Craigo said, can AFCON come sooner? You know what I mean? Andrew Webb said, how long do we go like this before pressure builds on Ireland and start looking for a new manager? Look, I'm not... I've no idea, mate, is the honest answer. I've got no idea. The question I think I'd like to ask is, how long does it go like this before it dawns on him that something needs to change? And that if it doesn't change in the longer term, it's going to be him that gets held accountable for it. Because this is the joys of football. Underperforming players, it's never them that goes. It's always the manager. So if the manager allows the underperforming players to continue to underperform and rewards them by playing them, then he's probably going to play himself out of a job longer term. But I'm not at the second point. I'm not close to the second point. But I am at a point where I feel like comfortable in saying he's delusional with what he thinks he's seeing. VR Joker said, at this rate, we'll struggle for top 4 at the moment. Ashley Dooley said, I'm not even sure we can beat United if I'm being honest. If I hear from Arna in post-match, small margins, moments, transition, mid-block, etc., then I'm done. I'm red till I die, but this is worrying. Well, you've pretty much just heard small margins, mate, you know. He's just said it. Thank you, Anthony, for the sticker. Appreciate you. I'm as angry as you are, I promise you. Formation doesn't work. Everybody but Slot can see it. Slot basically said, by the way, we looked much better when we brought on Gravenberch at the back because the centre-back that wants 200 grand a week was dog shit. And we looked better when our holding midfielder went at centre-back. That's what he said. He said, it's no accident we look better when Gravenberch went at centre-back. Enough said. But hey, guess who's going to be playing the next game? It won't be Joe Gomez. It'll likely be Canade. He is in a crisis of his own doing, bro. I don't disagree. I don't disagree, mate. It has to be of his own doing. Let's say he did find a way to get back into the game, but then refused to build on it and made the team worse 2 games in a row. I don't disagree with that either. So he said the game gets stretched, goes end to end. So he knows that there's going to be chances created, right? His words, game stretched, end to end, chances getting created. So what does he do? He brings on a holding midfielder. That's how he wants to win the game late, when the chances are at a premium, by bringing on a holding midfielder. And Chiesa is sitting there again getting splinters in his arse. You know, the guy who scores late goals. Carl said, Dom is the player that's given 100% week in and week out. Sidan said, Slot turns Isak into a passenger. Like Jota last season, he throws players under the bus for their mistakes, but doesn't take any responsibility. Yeah, it definitely feels like he's got a touch of the Brendan Rodgers in that regard. In that, look, managers are, of course, going to be somewhat self-serving, and they're going to not want to be as blunt as perhaps they would be in the dressing room publicly. But whatever he's doing, whatever he's saying, it ain't working. Because 3 in a row. We've lost 3 games in a row. The reigning champions have lost 3 games in a row. The club that were favourites for pretty much every competition have lost 3 games in a row. Galatasaray aren't very good. That Chelsea team aren't going to pull up any trees with the 11 they had out on the pitch. They do have some good players out, of course, as well. But, you know, and then we lose a late one against Crystal Palace, who, to be fair, are unbeaten in 18. What does he keep doing? The same thing. Klopp was a great manager and got the best out of players. I feel the opposite with Slot. The players don't want to play for each other or the manager. So I'm a big believer in setting the tone. And like I keep saying, with this languid, lazy-arsed defending style that we have, where we're afraid to put our bodies on the line, where we don't want to close down players and have shots, where we jockey and do nothing but stand off, it just seeps into the team. It just seeps in. There is no fight and bite and aggression to the team. And by the way, when we did try to show a bit, Dominic Szoboszlai went out there and won a 50-50 challenge and he gets booked for it. For winning a challenge. So, again, Anthony Taylor is a disgrace, and the PGMOL and their officials aren't fit for purpose. I wanted to make sure I delayed before I talked about the referee, because the decision-making today, again, was nothing short of disgusting. Players getting booked for winning challenges, and other fouls not given when the ball's not touched and our players cleaned out. Salah gets dragged to the ground 3 times. Anthony Taylor looks at him, shrugs his shoulders and says game on. Salah nudges when he was going for a ball with one Chelsea player, they fall to the ground, free kick. But again, it isn't on the referee, but they're shit. The refs, they're not good enough. But so are our players, not good enough. Performances, not good enough. Fight, not good enough. Why not play Chiesa? Because the manager doesn't like him. That's the only thing you can garner from this. There's no other words to say. The manager doesn't want Chiesa. It has to be that transparent. I hope the break Slot can sort himself out and the system's out. If not, then I'm sorry. There needs to be a massive decision made, said Wayne. Chad said the biggest tragedy in all of this is Slot was gifted an incredible squad this year and he's pissing it all away. Yeah. If you're FSG and you've just made this investment that people like me have been screaming at them for years, and you back a manager to the hilt, and you're seeing that, you ain't going to be happy, right? And of course the narrative's going to be, it takes time, it needs time, it needs time. It does. But if the players who are new need time, fair enough, play the old guard. And if we're still not performing, then maybe look inwardly. And that's where I think we're at now. We need to look inwardly. Arne needs to ask himself some difficult questions. We need Gay in January. The defence is terrible, said Lewis. David Robb said, we're all eyes, VVD and Slot, no fire. I agree, no fire in the belly. David, thank you, mate. Slot bringing on Endo to win games says it all. Starting to think he hasn't got a clue what he's at. Was living off Klopp's style last season. Big Shaq 420 said, been telling you this for the past few months since last year. I could have taken over from Klopp's team and won the league with them. Slot isn't the manager. Deutsche Kopbite said, I'm not one for shouting for managers' heads to roll, but for me, we have a manager available in Xavi who would bring attacking football to Anfield. Borom said, Gakpo was no threat forward and always behind defending. Even Kanade could make that goal. Why was Gakpo on the pitch the whole game? There's so many players out there that we could all point to, and I'm not saying you're right or wrong, by the way, mate. I'm just saying, when there's so many, I worry. If there's one or two, you can talk about form, but it's a system thing and a manager thing at the minute for me. Matteo said, it's just me, but everything looked better when Canada went off. Well, Slot intimate you'd have said the same thing. Under Klopp, we had an identity. Under Slot, I don't know what that identity is. Our current set of players seem to not care. I'm very worried, Craig. Curtis said, sick of Salah, Gakpo, Maka off it. I'll hold the door open for Canadi at this point. Never seen a Liverpool team look like they don't want to score or walk the ball into the net. Ronald said, we are lacking the passion Klopp's team had. Why would players have any urgency to play when you've Salah doing F-all and still not playing the full 90? Chiesa's been shafted. It's embarrassing. What's the odds of buying Oliver Glasner with Mark A in January? Said Anthony Taylor. It's very unusual, isn't it? Like, this is a first for me, by the way. I don't remember a time as a content creator where we've ever questioned our managers, because we never really had to. I'm not at the point yet of calling for the manager's head. I'm not. But I'm also dumbfounded as to why we keep doing the same things and how he can't make these changes. Slot and his staff are second rate. They're clueless, said HFMCE. First time I've been happy for international, said Justin Merrifield. Bring back Klopp, please, said VI Jokers. Nick said, Gakpo cutting inside, do my head in. Get the ball to the byline. Get it across. That's how Chelsea scored. Chiesa has the pace to get in and score. Craig, this is boring football. Don't know where this goes. I can't disagree. And look, I hate saying that, but it is kind of boring and monotonous in the way we move it. The tactic is broken and he is pushing it still, said Hardy. Mick Bear said, if it doesn't change, then the owners, after giving Slot so much money, they will bin him. ESG Soccer said, I'm usually not one to complain, but Salah's got to be benched. Broke down multiple attacks single-handedly. Bradley bad too. VVD gave them the goal. Stargirl said, could be at the top four in January if things don't change. Slot looked lost as his team did too many sloppy passes. More rival fans clicking in to see us cry now. Look, that's the game. And I'm big enough to dish it out. So I've no problem with opposition fans coming in to have a pop. That's their job. That's what they're, when you don't play well and you won't win, you get this. When you win, you're strutting around. You give it a little bit. You brag, That's the game. I accept it and I've no problem with it. Ryan said, is there a positive? Isak and Wirtz were better. Yeah, I thought Wirtz did look better. Still one or two things not quite coming off from him. Apex Viper said, Chelsea have both of their centre-backs injured and none to replace them as well. Love your watch-alongs, by the way. Thank you, mate. Yep, and still beat us. And Arna's out there talking about a great side and all. Well, a lot of their good players weren't even there today and we still lost. The performances haven't been great. I'm not going to lie. I'm trying to make excuses. Let's look at the positive side of things, and we're still second in the table despite these poor results. Yeah, but we've thrown away a 5-point lead into a 1-point deficit. That's the long and short of it in the last 2 league games. We've gone from being 5 points up to 1 point behind and letting City right back in as well. Space Panda, thank you, mate. Dalton, let me just check. Do we have a man of the match poll? I haven't even looked at it. We do. So, Georgi Mamadashvili with 46% of over 11,000 votes is your Anfield Agenda man of the match. Appreciate everyone that took time to vote in that. And again, a reminder, our competition winner, just in case you didn't hear it, was KevsGram88 at KEVSG or AM88 on Instagram. Congratulations, mate. Get in touch with us on there, or Connor will message you, and we'll get that signed and framed Diogo Jota shirt sent out to you. And thank you again to our friends at the Collector's Corner. Without them, we wouldn't have been able to do the giveaway. If Slot doesn't win his next game, it's time for the owners to do something, said Dalton. Going 4 games without a win with this team is appalling. Deal with the problem before it's too late and the season's gone. And that next game is against United as well. And we've Man City away coming up. Will said, as well as Mo, I'm calling out Virgil for the way below bar performance. Feel like he's showing no leadership on the pitch. Now is when we need it. The post-match stuff boils my blood, mate, what they're coming out with. Cass Riv said, it's not a one-trick pony. Mo was shy. Chiesa should have come on. Late subs are wrong. Subs too. Love you, Craig. You speak my mind. Legend. Thank you, mate. HFMCE said next 3 aways are Champions League are Frankfurt, Marseille and Inter. Could be out of the Champions League too. And we have Real Madrid coming up at home as well in November, if I'm not mistaken. Lolly said, that reminds me of Leicester after they won the league. Same manager, change, and then we just look so devoid, mate. So off it. Like, how do you spend nearly £500 million and go backwards? Salah wasted a lot of opportunities. He did. He did. So many. It's okay to say it when it's true, mate. He did. Slot's tactics need criticism. Why is Salah still on? Vavanive said both wingers had an issue. Big Mo said shapes all over the show. We've got better players, best players in the world assembled, and we don't know how to use them. Salah's miles off it this season. Mackett not fit. Chris Smith said, you're right, Craig. Slot won the league, and the main reason was he transformed Gravenberch into a DM, and that was the difference for sure. So thank you, Chris. Stevie Boy said, so why keep Chiesa and it makes no sense? I know. Salah concerned about his numbers. He's cooked, said HFMCE. Sister Ross said, if we have better players now than last season, the players move slowly, the ball moves slowly and even slower. No aggression, no creativity. Favourites again. Corbin, and you're right. A lot of what you said there, Sister Ross, was right. Corbin said, if we lose to United, does a sack conversation happen? I probably need a bit more. It'd probably take, for me, it would take more than that before I'd be at the point of sacking, but I don't know how much more. But I wouldn't be there, but I don't know how much more. I think Chiesa has got to outlive Arna at this point, said Maddie Gorman. KB said, hi Craig, at what point would you think it's time for Slot to go if things stay as they are? So, if the United game doesn't end in a victory, if you start dropping more points in the Champions League, I mean, the pressure's on. The pressure's on. I think what happened with Diogo may buy him more time, which again is understandable. It's so difficult to have these conversations as a fan because, of course, I'm aware of the heartbreak and what the lads have suffered. So I don't ignore that when I think about what I'm saying. I promise you I don't. But at the same time, I want that to be used for a galvanising reason and not as an easy get out of jail free card to use, if that makes sense. But there's no doubt, of course, it has its impact. KB said, oh, I've done that one. Elvis Presley said, VVD slot case and Macca only wants to clap the away end rest down the tunnel, according to Lewis Steele. It's not great, is it? It's not great. Liquid said, Salah being selfish cost us today on many occasions. It was Klopp's team last year, Craig. Right, but like I said to you, mate, Klopp didn't win the league the year before with the same team. That was the point I'm making. You've got two managers in 2 years with the same squad. One ran them into the ground and if the wheels fell off and got injured. And the other found a way to just about stretch it out long enough and won the league. That's the point I was trying to make. Liverpool get to taste their own medicine. McAllister, more like McDonald. Wirtz, more, I don't know what the second part is. Look, we've lost 2 games late and that stings as much as it's enjoyable winning them late as well. But I'm still talking about performances and a lack of cohesion, effort and frustration from me is at boiling point. Craig Slot will get to Christmas to change this. FSC will be ruthless, mate. Be prepared. I've seen this last year. Richard said, I think this loss will get it to if we lose to Manchester United. Who should we get if we lose to Manchester United? I don't know, mate. I'm not even thinking about a new manager yet. I'm more trying to figure out how we can get this one to get his finger out. I hope we get Gay and Slot will bench Salah. Mike said, what happened off the pitch should be an inspiration. It should be used as a galvanising factor. But like, I am a human. I do understand that the players will have suffered a huge loss. But you got to use it as a galvanising factor. Paul McKeown, thank you, mate. Be interesting if Arsenal can cope with the pressure being top now. Yeah, that's a fair point as well, VI Jokers. Dave's on the video said Ekatike and Isak up front, Wirtz free roll. Just Henry said, I'm disappointed. The whole club, I feel so low. And Gahim Gaz said, great result, Craig. Well, I respect your banter, Gaz, because it'd be same the other way around, man. Like I've said, I've no problem with opposition fans coming in for a bit of banter when we lose. That's the game, and I respect the rules of the banter, I mean. We got our owner, Teddy, said Itachi, for F's sake. Didinho said, Arna wants Champions League, more recent interview, poor in my opinion. Well, we lost the Galatasaray away, and they're not very good. Cal Down said, hey, we haven't been the same since we lost to PSG. Arna changed his style of play to emulate PSG, and we lost our identity. This started last season. What even is the identity of this team? What is the objective? What is the formation? What is the clear-cut goal? We just look mindless. So if we go back to what Cal said about the PSG game, you know, we haven't found a way to do what they do. And we haven't even looked like we're trying to do that either. Like I keep saying, everybody that says, what is the identity? What I don't know either. But they're fair questions. Maddie. Right, folks, I'm going to have to bring this stream to an end in a moment or two, because I've got to go record the podcast with the lads and get the player ratings videos out. So if I would ask, I want to make sure I read everyone's super chat. So please don't send in any more, because I don't want to miss any as I finish up the stream. And I really appreciate you, but I want to make sure I get through them all. Arna is talking like a manager devoid of ideas, talking up his own team. Anybody with half a clue knows Chiesa was ravaged with injuries. Or Chelsea, excuse me, were ravaged with injuries. Yeah, they were. We need that Ekatike, Isak, Chiesa front three, said Tripsy Dubs. We need something up there, mate. Yep, and Salah isn't it at the minute, and again, doesn't hold them to account today. Isak was well positioned, waiting for the ball all day. Salah should be benched. And you're right. There were certainly times, like I said, where one simple pass and he's in, but no, Mo takes too many touches and cuts back inside. Richard said, please, Craig, we need you as our manager. You really don't, mate. You really don't. I'm tired of watching multimillionaires misplace 5-yard balls regularly. A lot of this falls on slot, wrong lineup, poor tactics. Players need to step up. Salah must have slots nudes or something. Pad said, hiding a gun, Van Bronckhorst in, clear difference. Well, hiding might be getting his P45 soon from Ajax, by the sounds of that. I was so annoyed today. Wirtz did amazing passes. The Gakpo and Salah should have scored, said Live 4K HD. David said Iriola, googly eyes. Mike said, laughing at people celebrating an international break. Do you think it's going to be any different after? I think that just means that mentally at least they'll have 2 weeks where they won't be this angry. That's what I take from it anyway. Dave's random video said, don't blame Slot for picking Salah, blame the owners and sponsors. I don't get that, mate. Manager, nobody's telling me who to play. Nobody, if I'm the coach. Nobody would tell Klopp who to play. So I don't believe for 1 second that he's been told he has to play him. United was like this last few years, and now Liverpool's getting the same treatment in return. But that's football for you. Look, guys, let's be frank about this. I'm all for banter and all, mate. But this is a fucking huge difference. Like, we're going through a little sticky patch of a few games, and it will get better, and we do have a good squad. United have been, you know yourself, mate. You know, there's no comparison. Great, painful watch-along. It was tough. Maybe Heidinger was the brains of the team last season, said Liquid. Well, he's not the brains of Ajax, who, again, like I said, he's under pressure there. We can't blame FSG on this. They spent big time, might have some hard decisions if this carries on. Peter Parker said, why do all our players pass to Salah every time? I was asking the same thing, dude, during the game. If Liverpool lose 4 in a row, I'm going to lose it, said Zeus. 3 in a row was my cut-off point, mate. And I'm furious. Absolutely furious. Josh said, it really bugged me when Verge came on. Same attitude at the end of the match when it was our own fault we lost. It's a blip. We'll bounce back. We'll still find a way. It's just cop-out answers, Josh. Just cop-out answers, mate. And devoid of reality. From Verge, I mean, and the manager. It's just nonsense. We're not good enough. Call it out. Our main strengths were tempo and energy, and it's taken that away. City, Madrid last season, only 2 games we played well for 90 minutes. Slot's got Amarum tits, or Amarumitis. I read those tits, mate, first, sorry. Amarumitis. Does Salah have a play clause in his contract? Thought, well, I refuse to believe our club are pathetic enough to let that exist. But either way, I still wouldn't care. If I was Aaron, I wouldn't care. I'd still be taking him off because ultimately my job's gone if I'm him and I'm not doing it. And if Salah, and again, I don't think it is there, but if it was there, I'd be ignoring it. And Liquid said Salah this season equals Mbappe's last PSG season. Right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much to everybody who joined us today. Appreciate you all as always. I'm going to go record the podcast with the lads. We will catch up really soon. And there'll be a player ratings video out tonight as well. I've got one last live stream tomorrow before I'm away for a couple of weeks. So I hope to see you for it. If you... sorry. Appreciate it. So it just dawned on me that I'm going to be without everyone for a couple of weeks. I really do enjoy these interactions with you. So I will be delighted to see you back again when I come back. But yeah, man, I'm going off with absolute fumes. This is not the way I wanted to be signing off match-wise. But we haven't been good enough again. Salah without Trent service. He's a fraud, said Chris. Look, folks, appreciate you. I'll see you soon. Much love.